Hello, my name is Marissa Trujillo. My term paper presentation is on the effects of worker stress on job satisfaction. The topic I will be discussing is worker stress. While there are many definitions for stress, worker stress is simply stress that results from the work environment. According to the textbook Introduction to Industrial Organizational Psychology by Ronald E. Riggio, worker stress includes, quote, the physiological and/or psychological reactions to events that are perceived to be threatening or taxing, unquote. Stress can positively and/or negatively affect a person, depending on their personal characteristics and the situation. Worker stress is negatively correlated with job satisfaction and well-being, and for the organization, it can lead to decreased productivity, increased absenteeism, and increased turnover, among other outcomes. Worker stress can come from organizational and individual sources. My case study will focus primarily on organizational sources. In my own personal experience, I've encountered a real-life work-related problem related to worker stress and job satisfaction. As a previous ride operator and ride attendant at Six Flags Magic Mountain, my job was to secure safety restraints and push buttons to launch the ride. We also had to maintain a queue line between the various rider groups. My coworkers and I were responsible for the lives of the riders and those waiting in line, so every task had to be thoroughly completed. We routinely encountered hazardous situations, such as finding a passenger trying to sneak a bag onto the ride, a disabled person trying to ride even though they do not meet the safety requirements, or even the rare find of an unbuckled restraint. These problems can lead to unsafe ride operation, increasing the potential for bodily injury or ride damage. So the ride operator must quickly make the decision on whether to perform an emergency stop, usually within the split seconds of a vehicle launch. This situation is extremely stressful for workers, as we must balance speed and guest satisfaction with safety, which must always come first, no matter how small the problem seems. Informing park guests that they are ineligible to ride or stopping the ride commonly leads to outrage and anger towards the workers, which increases worker stress and decreases my job satisfaction and happiness at work. The textbook explains that stressful occupations result in high stress due to the physical dangers present. Ride operation is a stressful occupation because roller coasters can lead to death and grave injury. In this case study, there are situational sources of worker stress. A possible work task stressor performing this job is work overload. Work overload comes from too much work, and ride operators are in charge of many facets of operation while having to deal with a long line of guests. The main work role stressors found in this job are physical work conditions and interpersonal stress. The ride I worked at is outside and high up, so it is common to have to work under dangerous conditions of extreme temperatures. Ride operation areas are also routinely crowded with people, so these factors combined with the excessively noisy work environment filled with sounds of people and machines creates a stressful atmosphere for workers. As teamwork is critical for ride operation, interpersonal stress can lead to poor job performance. But this is only a problem depending on which coworkers work that day. Emotional labor, which is the type of interpersonal stress that includes the demands of managing emotions in the workplace, is the biggest source of work stress for me. The emotional regulation of dealing with difficult customers became very taxing, leading me to quit. This kind of issue definitely reduced my job satisfaction and hurted my feelings many times. Worker stress can lead to a variety of problems, such as increased physical illnesses, such as high blood pressure, headaches, heart and respiratory diseases, and psychological illnesses, such as depression, anxiety, and physical and emotional fatigue in employees. Worker stress may also lead to increased employee absenteeism and turnover. Long-term worker stress may also increase the likelihood of job burnout, which leads to the person withdrawing from work. Work performance is affected based on the amount of stress, as positioned on the inverted U curve, where an optimum amount of stress leads to the highest level of performance, and too much or too little stress results in poor performance. The scientific article related to my topic that I chose is Psychosocial Working Conditions and Stress in UK Social Workers. Author Germaine M. Raviere stated that the purpose of the 2019 study was, quote, to investigate the influence of psychosocial working conditions on stress and related outcomes, sickness presenteeism, job satisfaction and turnover intentions in UK social workers, unquote. The methodology was a mixed methods design that had a cross-sectional survey with a single open-ended question. Data was collected from 1,333 registered social workers through a SurveyMonkey email link sent to two British social work organizations in order to investigate the specific sources of stress. The findings illustrated the presence of low job satisfaction, high presenteeism, and high levels of turnover intentions, as about 40% of respondents were dissatisfied in their jobs, 60% had attended work while ill at least twice in the past 12 months, and over 50% were intending to leave the job in an average of 14 and a half months. Content analysis of the open-ended question, which was, quote, in one sentence, how would you make the role of a social worker less stressful, unquote, resulted in discovering that the top 5 sources of stressful working conditions for social workers are a high workload, lack of managerial support, lack of reflective supervision, poor work culture, and a general other working conditions category, which included the physical working environment and paid conditions. This study shows that these stressful working conditions and demands on workers add to the experience of stress and related outcomes in this population. Therefore, the results demonstrate that these psychosocial hazards clearly impact the attitudes that social workers, and possibly those likewise in other service industries, have about their job role, job satisfaction, or an organizational commitment. My proposed solution for lowering worker stress to increase job satisfaction takes into consideration the text and article that I read. The book solutions I found most apt for my issue include strengthening training and orientation programs, providing a supportive team oriented environment, enhancing communication, and employing stress management training programs. Solutions from the research article include receiving greater support from management, receiving reflective supervision, and reducing work demands. My solution is to employ multiple individual and organizational coping strategies for dealing with work stress, combining solutions from the textbook and the article. Individual strategies I can do include removing myself from stressful situations and partaking in cognitive restructuring, which means changing my mindset of stressful occurrences from negative to neutral or positive thoughts, thus increasing stress resiliency. Organizational strategies that Six Flags can do are to create better employee and stress management training programs and improve organizational communication between coworkers and supervisors. These programs will help prepare workers to tackle stressful situations both during and after the fact. And clear communication would allow workers to feel better connected and supported when dealing with issues. Feeling knowledgeable about protocols and secure that management and coworkers have my back would allow me to feel prepared to handle upset guests, which solves my top source of worker stress and undoubtedly improve my job satisfaction. Thank you.